Hi, my name is Brian from Work to Game, and today we're going to be talking about the Xbox controller, the PlayStation 4 controller, and the Nintendo Switch controller, finding out which one is the clear winner. Now, console players have always had a lot of controller options to them, and it's only recently that we've seen the PC be able to adapt those same console controllers like that of the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, and be able to use these within PC games, and now more and more PC games themselves are supporting controllers. Where this becomes a challenge right now is that what do you pick? And it really boils down to a little bit of personal preference. There is a cost factor, as most controllers are going to run you around $60, but you can still find some that are cheaper out there. But we're going to focus in on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and yes, the Nintendo Switch controllers, and talk about what makes the most sense. Now, the Switch controllers, there's really not an adapter for PC, but if you're looking to have some insight, if you want to pick one up for the Nintendo Switch, we're going to talk about it. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the PlayStation 4 controller. This is a really solid controller. It's got the dual analog sticks here in the center. Personally, my preference is not for it, but if you've been playing with a PlayStation for any amount of time, this is going to feel real familiar to you. Obviously, you have the touch bar here in the center. It's the new feature that was added for the PlayStation 4. It is a button, it is clickable, and it can also serve as a touchpad or kind of mouse cursor in certain supported games. They've added a share button and an option button, and the start and select for this generation has gone out the window. There is a light bar here that is supposed to interact with like PlayStation VR and other camera-based games, and then you have the triggers here. The nice thing about the triggers is that they have a little curved edge here on the PlayStation 4 as opposed to the PlayStation 3, which were slanted the other way. This helps and adds that little bit more pull and trigger type feel. The buttons are very responsive, and it has its own rechargeable battery, so you just got to plug this in and it recharges. Battery life on these aren't fantastic, but they're always better than actually what I expect them to be. Especially because you can leave this plugged in and your PlayStation in kind of rest mode to be able to fully charge. They have also docking stations and things like that. Lastly, this does support a headset with mic. You're all ready to go outside the box when chatting with friends. Next up, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch default game Joy-Cons. These feature really great rumble and they feel good in the hand. However, the buttons are relatively small, especially if you're playing it in this mode. So for the controller and the Joy-Con itself, you get a ton of versatility. You can split them up into two, or you can have it as a part of this dock that comes with the controller, used as a single controller with the dual offset analog sticks, which personally is my personal preference. The buttons, again, are kind of small, and instead of select start, you have plus and minus, as well as the share and home button. The triggers themselves really aren't triggers, they're just more kind of buttons themselves, but they do have that lip, which helps and makes it resting your fingers on them much easier. This does not work currently with a PC unless there's some hacking to be done out there. But as far as the Nintendo Switch is concerned, running these on the console itself feels good. In the hands, they feel good as well. But after a long period of playtime, your hands can get tired and they do not hold up to long gameplay sessions, in my personal opinion. In contrast to the Switch and the Joy-Cons, you have this Nintendo Switch Pro controller. At $70, you would think you're getting more. Now, the controller itself feels good. The buttons are nice and big. It has all the features and the dual offset sticks, just like the Xbox, and not like the PlayStation 4 that we just saw. These trigger buttons aren't, really like those analog. They are digital, so it's on or off. And that's okay. It just really depends on what you want to do. The battery life on this is fantastic. In fact, rarely have I charged it. I think I probably get around 20 to 40 hours of playtime on the Pro controller. And if you're going to play the Nintendo Switch in any mode outside of handheld, I would highly encourage picking at least one of these up. It does add to the cost. Again, like I said, $70, very pricey, but a solid controller nonetheless. Not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but if I was going to be playing any games on the Switch, this is what I want to use as opposed to the Joy-Cons themselves. Again, all personal preference here, so I'll leave it up to you. These obviously come with the Nintendo Switch. This does not. This just adds to the overall cost of the Switch and getting set up and running on Nintendo's latest platform. So let's jump into Microsoft's latest update to the controller. You can get these in any color combination that you can think of on Xbox Design Labs, but here's just a basic white one. This supports Bluetooth, so you're able to connect over a Bluetooth connection to a PC, and obviously this runs on Xbox One as well. When you compare this to Xbox 360 controllers, I think the Xbox One controller nails it. The design, the analog, the rumble, and the sticks feels fantastic. The dual offset sticks is my personal preference, so that always is a win. The Xbox button in the center. The buttons are big and responsive and very colorful. They've added texture grip to these controllers so it feels even better in the hands for long gameplay sessions. These controllers don't come with rechargeable batteries, so it's going to always be an additional cost to you to be able to have access to those, but having the rechargeable battery pack is a game changer. It's going to save you tons of money in the long run in buying batteries. One of the nice features about the new Xbox controller is being able to plug it in to the cord itself. This will enable it to actually just use the cord instead of the wireless, so it makes it really fast and competitive. So if you're ever going to events, I would highly recommend it. As a console and PC player, this is my controller of choice. Ranging usually around $60, you can find these on special, and I have for $50 or less. So just keep a lookout for any kind of deals out there in that vein. Now at the same time, if we move this to the side and we bring out the big daddy of them all, the Xbox One Elite or Pro controller, it's had a couple names. I'm going to take off the keypad here. And all case and purposes, it looks exactly like an Xbox One controller. It is heavier, like whenever you would weigh the two against each other, this is going to be beefier. It feels solid. It's got the texture grip back. It's got the controller just how you would like it. The nice thing is that it's fully customizable and it supports two different profiles that you can easily switch between the two. The parts themselves are removable, so you have multiple options that you can come and set. So if you find that you like a more traditional D-pad or you like the circular D-pad, you can easily kind of customize the face of this. At $150, it is the most expensive controller by a kind of first-party manufacturer, but it is probably the best controller that I've ever owned. On the back, you can decide whether the triggers do full or partial pulls. Depending on the gun and the game, this could be a pro or a con. Like in Halo, when you have a charge rifle or anything that you need to charge up, this will prevent you from really getting that charge, but it is easy to switch between the two modes on the back, on the fly. There are paddles that come with it that you can choose that then you can map to various button presses. You can't map them to like combinations like A and B together, but you can say this is A, this is up, this is B, this is down, or whatever on the back side. It takes some time to get used to have those kind of paddles in the back, but once you do and you have a really good comfortable grip, this ends up being such a solid controller. Contrast that to the Switch Pro controller, and this by far exceeds it in price and just in form factor. It's hard and it's weird that they both kind of share that same kind of branding. You're thinking kind of pro, professional, but this is truly kind of a professional controller in my opinion, and this in and of itself is a requirement for the Switch. A brief note about the chat pad here. This makes it to where when especially playing like online games or any game you need a keyboard and mouse to be able to chat. This works on both your Xbox and on a PC. If you don't have access to a keyboard, whether it be Bluetooth or what have you, this makes it really easy to kind of fire off a quick message. The buttons themselves light up while playing, so in the dark you can easily find your way around and pick the right options. I've had this for a while and I'm really glad that Xbox makes it to attach it like we had it earlier. It just snaps right on and then you're ready to go. So when playing a game, you can easily just switch, type, and go back into playing a game. This works well in MMOs and games that aren't like first-person shooters because I doubt you're going to try to type something in that. However, if you're doing messaging or any kind of thing like that and you don't want to have or access your keyboard for any reason, let's say you're laying on the couch, this is a very comfortable option to utilize. So there you have it. 5 different gamepads, 5 different types of controllers that you can use to play and hopefully enjoy your games. If you have any questions about these controllers specifically that I have not addressed in my review, please let me know. To rank these controllers is obviously to express my bias. While I have no bias towards console PC, I do feel that Xbox makes the best controllers out there on the market, especially for the money. Nintendo, the Pro controller, is by far the more comfortable of the two, and then you have the PlayStation. So Xbox, the clear leader, PlayStation and the Nintendo Pro controller on somewhat of the same ground. I do appreciate the trackpad, but I do appreciate the offset options there. So having those options to me is important. But again, it's a personal preference, and you're going to make that decision based off of your personal preference. The Joy-Cons are by far the loser of the controllers here, but they are so versatile. And loser is really a tough term because you are going to use these in handheld mode. It feels really good and it feels natural with the Switch itself, and it really is kind of powerful. I typically leave these docked on the Switch at all times, using the Pro controller when I'm playing on the TV and using these when I want to pick up the Switch and take it on the go. Well, that wraps it up for me and my thoughts on the various controllers that I'm, lucky enough to own. So I hope you found this informative, and I hope that you find what you're looking for when you're going out and trying to pick up a controller for your new game. But for Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care. Hi, my name is Brian. I'm from Work to Game. Today we're going to be talking about the Xbox controller, the PlayStation 4 controller, and the Nintendo Switch controller, and seeing which one's the
Why is it backwards?
I like that it just kind of wow. All right, are we ready?
Well, I don't have it. Okay, how do you do this hand? Where's the? I'm trying to get it in the middle, but
You want
it's
it-
backwards.
You want it like...
Is the It's backwards, huh?
No, you're right. It's good. All right, let's try it again. Somebody's just in the background. All right.
Hey, it's me. I'm in Chris's office. He doesn't know it, but we've got other videos for you to check out right here. And we've got the vlog down there in the corner. Plus, we've got some contact information, and you can totally subscribe to the channel that way as well. So we hope you do. We hope to see you in our next video, but until then,